Today, we'll take a look at the plight of whistleblowers in South Africa. There have been growing calls for law enforcement agencies to fast-track policies that would ensure the credible protection of whistleblowers in our country. President Cyril Ramaphosa has on several occasions expressed that those who blow the whistle need to be assured that exposing corruption will not be at the expense of their lives. Thabiso Zulu is an anti-corruption activist who exposed ongoing corruption and looting in the Umzimkhulu municipality. This is in KwaZulu-Natal, despite perceived danger to his life after his friend Sindiso Magaqa was shot and killed for attempts to expose misconduct there. Patricia Morgan-Mashale, who uncovered allegations of irregularities at the Free State SAPS, also had to go into hiding. And both of them join us now to tell us more, in part, about whether, in retrospect, they believe the efforts were all worth it. To both of you, thank you very much for being with us on the program. And I know that it's always risky when you raise your head above the parapet to talk about these things. So, again, we especially appreciate your availability today and your willingness to talk to us. I think, Patricia, I'd love to start with you, and we'll talk about, and the reason I'm starting with you is because you were trying to raise the alarm on issues inside the SAPS. This morning we had that joint briefing by the SAPS officials together with the Hawks, and one of the things Major General Godfrey Lebeya, this is the head of the Hawks, said is that witnesses and whistleblowers will be protected when they bring information to law enforcement. Your experience was the opposite, and I'd love for you to share with our viewers some of what you went through when you tried to raise the issue around military camps, secret military camps, when you tried to raise the issue around abuses and the milking of police funds for the private use of certain officials.
Good morning, Iman. Good morning to your viewers, and thank you so much for having me. Yes, it's true what you're saying. I've been experiencing completely the opposite, and still are. I'm still reporting corruption and wrongdoing in the SAPS, and believe you me, just a few minutes before this interview started, I was actually threatened by the station commander of Uberton police station because I'm exposing the appointment of a Malawian citizen in the South African police service. She called me and she threatened me that she is going to investigate me because I'm exposing this. So yes, there's absolutely no protection from the side of the SAPS. They've never protected me. They've never reached out to me up to till today, although I've been acquitted of all charges against me. All they are doing is giving media briefings, media statements saying that they are going to protect whistleblowers, but they are not. There are a lot of whistleblowers in the SAPS. They are still afraid to speak out about the corruption that is happening in the SAPS because they are being threatened, like I've been threatened this morning. They will lose their jobs. They will be arrested on malicious charges, and nothing will be done. I've been reaching out to the National Commissioner. Still today, we haven't had a response from the National Commissioner, although he knows that he must act against the people who have retaliated against me.
Yeah.
There's still nothing to them.
Patricia, in a moment, we'll go back to when you first started at the SAPS as a senior administrative clerk, when you noted some irregularities. But I want to circle back to what you said at the opening and just tell us exactly who you're referring to so that we can actually reach out to them for their right of reply. I mean, that's good journalistic practice. If we make an allegation against someone, we have to give them the opportunity to speak for themselves, and we'd like to put that to the station commander. I just didn't get the station that you were referring to.
Colonel Flynn of Uberton Police Station in Klerksdorp just called me just before the interview and told me that I must leave this issue of Constable Issa alone. So I told her, I say, I will never leave corruption alone. What happened with the appointment of Constable Issa is corruption, and I will never leave it alone. And then she threatened me and said that she is actually investigating me. So it's Colonel Flynn from Uberton Police Station.
Okay, we'll put a call in. Our team will put a call in and get a right of reply either from them or the person who speaks for police in the province. I want to go back to your time when you started at the SAPS in 2007 as a senior administrative clerk, to share with our viewers very quickly just some of the things that you noticed that raised the alarm for you, where you decided then that you were going to say something.
And the things that I noticed, Iman, was nepotism. There was a time when a senior officer in crime intelligence appointed friends and families, her own friends and families, without advertising the post. He just appointed them handpicked, not advertising the post. And I blew the whistle on that in 2008. And then the smuggling of state-owned firearms in the storage facilities that are meant for destruction. I noticed that firearms are disappearing in the storage facilities. And when I went into the system, I realized that police officers are stealing these firearms, and they are selling it back to the market, and they are actually also licensing these unlawful firearms, because those firearms have been removed from the owners' names and put on the state's names. So there is these kind of things that I reported. I also reported police officers, they were actually actively involved in criminal activities. And for that, I was retaliated upon, because I reported this to the former National Commissioner. In 2008, I reported that to Becky Tele when he was the National Commissioner, and nothing happened back then. And then currently now, after I reported to Sitole, that is when the severe retaliation against me started.
We're going to come back to what happened after that, because there was support for you from the SAHRC, this is the Human Rights Commission, from IPID, as well as from the Public Protector. But I want to bring in Thabiso to share his story. And Thabiso, you know, this was a really brutal experience that you had in your attempts to raise the alarm. And we carried quite prolifically in the news the murder, the assassination of Sindiso Magaqa, who was at one time the Secretary General of the ANC Youth League, into the goings-on and the use of municipal funds and money in KwaZulu-Natal, in one of the municipalities there. And I'd love for you to just quickly headline your story for our viewers as well, in terms of how you became, in a sense, you know, an accidental whistleblower.
It will be unfair. Good morning, Iman. It will be unfair to say it was accidental. In a sense, I had started working on issues of corruption. That would have been around 2010. So when Sindiso was, I started working around the issues of corruption even before my late comrade Sindiso Magaqa was killed in 2017. So I had quite a lot of experience. That's why he brought documents to me, which I sent to National Commissioner of SARS at the time, Tomoyane, head of SIU, Advocate the Motibi, and many others. But I think it will be also fair to report that even before the matter of Sindiso Magaqa that he reported to me, and I raised it with the relevant people, and he was later killed, as you know. I had quite a lot of other successes in terms of people getting convictions. I've got councillors at Dr. Nkosazana and Dlamini municipalities who were convicted of fraud, SASSA fraud, and many other cases. So I think we've been continuing doing this, and we are continuing doing it because we accept that if we don't continue fighting corruption, which steals the future of our children, but further than that, which we believe that living or not fighting corruption will be equal to betraying the martyrs, your Papita Dekoran, and many others, Sindiso Magaqa, and many others that died because they exposed corruption.
Yeah.
Our own plight and our own difficulties are not far worse than what others have had to endure, having to give the last and the ultimate gift in the world, and having to die.
Thabiso, thank you very much for that. And just to, again, go back to the use of the word accidental, I take your point. I guess what I'm referring to is the spirit of everyone wants to, you know, you get into a job, you do it, you expect everything to be okay. And then you start noticing things which pull you in a direction that maybe you could never have anticipated for the reasons, as you say, you can't stand by and watch wrongdoing happen under your watch. With whistleblowers Thabiso Zulu and Patricia Morgan-Mashale. And Thabiso, let me pick up with you. One of the things that you have shared, which we know, which I'd love for you to share again now, just highlighting also and reinforcing what Patricia said, was there were multiple failures by people who should have been protecting you to do so. And even to this day, in this moment, you are still living in fear of your life. And I'd love for you to talk about that.
Look, it's a very painful life that one doesn't wish even for his worst enemies, right? You continue living watching your back. We are watching your back because you don't know where the next bullet will come. But unfortunately, in other areas, we are not sure where the next knife will come, because other people crooks are too smart, especially political gangsters. They are too smart. They know that if you get shot, it will make headlines. But if they step you in one area, you are buying something, it will be duped as something that happened because they were robbing you or something. But my family had to endure quite a lot of pain. We've been bullied. Our houses, our doors have been kicked out. My mother has been called with a B word that I can't mention in a live conversation. We've endured everything that is painful. Sindiso Makaka's mother was on the 5th of November last year. We had to hire for him, for the family, we had to hire for the family a security company that was going to install cameras and the alarm system, because they were beaten up. People wanted documents and everything, documents that they claimed that were left by Sindiso Makaka. So people that are abusing us, that are abusing whistleblowers, they don't only abuse you, but they abuse your family even after your departure. Look at the case of Babita. Now I'm at a stage where I don't want to talk about myself only, because this fight is not about me. This fight is about other whistleblowers. Babita's family doesn't know the truth even today. Even when people have been convicted, they didn't tell the whole truth, because we don't know who was the mastermind. Someone named, that person has never been arrested now, but everyone who is having a sense of understanding knows that it must have been someone huge and big in terms of finances and arranging that kind of 5 hitmen. To do that, you need to have money.
I want to go to both of you. In fact, let me start with Patricia then. So we mentioned the SAHRC. They found that the disclosures that you had made, Patricia, were protected under the Protected Disclosures Act. And there's been a lot of talk about this one, about whether there's enough in the law to create whistleblower protection. But then IPID as well looked into the matter, and they found that the issues that you were raising to be true. They recommended criminal prosecution. The public protector too had kind of, also found in your favor and recommended action. Thabiso, for yourself as well, there was a recommendation from the public protector to ensure, this is in 2018, that you be provided with bodyguards and to have the Minister of Police reprimanded. Nothing apparently happened in that regard. And Patricia, I'd love for you to talk about that piece as well, about the recommendations made by credible organizations, including Chapter 9 organizations, that simply went nowhere in terms of personal protection for you and your disclosures.
Yes, Iman, as you said, all those recommendations simply ended up nowhere because no one has done anything about it. And that is the sad part about all this thing. Why do we have this Chapter 9 institutions who can make recommendations to the relevant people, and then these recommendations can just be ignored like that and nothing happened? No one is saying anything about it. And in terms of the protection of whistleblowers? What about the recommendations of the Zondo Commission? Why was those recommendations never implemented? It's now 2 years along the line. I remember the president saying that he was giving the instructions to Ronald Lamola, but still up to today, we never received any feedback, any report, nothing for Ronald Lamola. And you know what, I had high hopes with this new GNU that the issue of whistleblowers will be high up on the agenda. But today we are seeing the president signing bill after bill after bill, but he's absolutely saying nothing about the recommendations in terms of the protection of the whistleblowers. So yes, I can almost say that whistleblowers is like a enemy to the government, like an enemy of the president, because the president has all the powers. If he can sign a bill into law, it gets implemented immediately. So he is the one who is holding this implementation back. No one else, because without his instructions, without his directives, no one is going to do anything. And at the end of the day, no one is going to be held accountable. The government has changed. We have new ministers. We have there's everything has changed. But our situation just got worse. So at the end of the day, the fingers must be pointed back to the president again, because he was put in charge of that report from the Zondo Commission to implement the recommendations.
Thabiso, talk to us about recommendations made for your protection that simply didn't materialize.
Look, Iman, few things. One, it was not only the issue of the public protector, but there were threat assessments that were done by crime intelligence. Crime intelligence report was read to me over the phone openly. I was told what it says. It said I must be protected, and I must be protected by two private protectors. The state security agents, these are agencies of the state, also said the same thing, that I must be protected, myself and the less student. We must be protected because our lives are at risk. It's not us who are claiming that our lives are at risk. It's the state, through its own security agents and security experts, that were saying, these fellows must be protected. I was not protected since 2017, 2018, after those two reports and public protector's report. And on 2019, as fate may have it, I was shot. I survived assassins that wanted to take my life and deny my family the only breadwinner in the family. So it has been a very painful life for me in many different aspects. And the other painful part is that I even had to go to court to ask, through the assistance of the South African Human Rights Commission, to ask the state to protect me. You know what the state did? It denied me an opportunity to live like a human, an ordinary individual. They threw me to a witness protection, took my phones away. I couldn't communicate with the world. I had to come out of that thing because I knew it was a sham.
And then we saw in 2022, again, when you were at the forefront of another anti-corruption march, police again got hold of you is what happened, and you were then arrested. I think the matter also went to court, and then the state didn't prosecute that matter because there was a lack of evidence. But you described that as this continuous victimization, Thabiso.
Iman, there was none. Up until, if you need to know, those policemen were internally disciplined, right? They were found guilty on 3 charges: assault, violation of Section 205. I can't remember that one, but there were three charges that they faced. They were found guilty on all of them. 9 policemen. You know what they got as a sentence? 2 months suspension of their salaries. Ridiculous. I told one policeman who doesn't know me, who came to interview me for my shooting, he laughed. He said, I never had that in my life. It's deliberate. They are doing it. It means that those policemen will come back again and finish the job that they were sent for.
Sure. So let's go back then to one of the key reasons we wanted you to come in and talk to us today. And I'm just going to share the results of a poll from our AIM report program, where we asked our viewers around the issue of whistleblowing and whether or not they themselves would become whistleblowers. If you saw something illegal, would you be a whistleblower? 68%, Patricia and Thabiso, said it's just too dangerous. 3% said I'm not an impimpi, and you know that sometimes that's the conversation that's being had. And 29% said if I'm protected, I will go ahead and do so. Listening to both your stories today about the acute, you know, again, tragic lack of protection, those 29% wouldn't even, you know, they wouldn't stand up and do anything. So, you know, what do you say to people who are thinking something is very wrong where I am? I should say something. Would you caution them against saying something, Patricia?
I will definitely caution them because it's dangerous. It's extremely dangerous. Not only will you live your life, they will kill you. But if you miraculously survive, you will lose everything. You will lose your income. You will lose your freedom of movement. You will lose your time with your family. You will lose your possessions. You will become a prison in your own country. That's how bad it is to be a whistleblower in this country. So I will definitely caution people because not all people are able to withstand this. So at the end of the day, how are we going to fix this country if our whistleblowers are going to be treated like this? If the slaughtering of the whistleblowers are going to continue like this? I listened to the percentages that you gave me, and no one is going to blow the whistle in this country because it's just too dangerous to do it.
Thabiso, one of the things you said is our plight is not far worse than what others had to endure. And, you know, similar question as the one I posed to Patricia now. Was this worth it? And what would you say to others who are thinking of doing the same thing?
I will remain in the battle with my boots on. This battle is not mine. It's for the country. Our kids, if we don't, the African countries didn't collapse just because they are led by black people or African people. They collapsed because men and women who were supposed to speak up decided to keep quiet. I'm prepared to sacrifice my blood, my sweat, and my tears, like many others who have done before, fighting other battles. I'm ready to continue doing it. Right now, I'm having matters that I've raised with the Minister of Culture. He's yet to come back to me. He said he's referring them to the Premier and the MEC of Culture in KZN. I'm waiting for him to do that. I'm waiting for the Minister of the Housing and Human Settlement, Minister Kubai, to come back to me because we keep on interacting on email. Her department is not contacting me, whereas I asked her openly, "Are you fighting corruption?" She said yes, and she gave me an email, but she's not doing that. So it's a fight worthy to fight. We mustn't feel like our lives are more important than other people who sacrifice their own. So I'm ready to continue fighting it. We're doing quite a lot in the Department of Public Works and many other places in this province. So I'm happy that there was a conviction of a former mayor in a matter that I helped in at Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma municipality. Former mayor Nomagugu Luzulane. So there is quite a lot of work that we are continuing to do, and I'm quite happy with that.
Thabiso, Patricia, I think for a lot of people listening, you know, your efforts are heroic. As you say, you're doing this for the country and for our children, really, so that they have a legacy of clean governance. But what is the thing that we can do to help? I mean, one of the things I love about the station is it's not just about having a conversation and kind of thinking, oh, my goodness, thank God that's not me, when we hear the stories of others. What I think can be constructive is to pick up the piece around the recommendations made for the protection of both yourselves and to basically hold those officials' feet to the fire in terms of those provisions. Would you agree that that's a good next step? And you can also add how else you think that we can help the plight of whistleblowers in the country. Patricia, you go first.
Yes, that will be a great start, Iman. And the other thing that I would say, I encourage people to say, you know what, at the end of the day, it's not even about us, it's about the country, it's about the future of our children. So let's make whistleblowing fashionable. And if you are afraid, bring the information to me, I will expose the information. The more information and corruption we expose, the better. Let this thing go globally. Let us make a hashtag to say, make whistleblower fashionable, so that everyone at the end of the day can know that if you see wrongdoing, report it somewhere. That's why, Iman, I'm in the process currently of establishing my own NPO, whereby I'm going to be the go-to for whistleblowers and victims of injustice. So this is not the end. Although our lives will remain in danger until we get the protection that we need, we are not going to be held hostage by the fear of being killed. If we get killed, then so be it. Let them kill us. But as long as I'm alive and kicking, I'm going to blow the whistle. I'm going to expose corruption. And whoever, like Colonel Flynn, whoever is going to threaten me, I'm going to expose you. I'm not going to allow anyone anymore to threaten me, to bully me. Whoever is going to threaten me, I'm going to expose them.
Sure, Patricia. Thabiso?
Yeah, look, Iman, for me, I have seen, I interact with a lot of other whistleblowers, and some of them doesn't have a media profile like ourselves, right? I know some fellows who are working very hard on the ground. I know of one case of one fellow, Tambeje, who exposed corruption. Now the NPA is failing him in KZN in a matter that is supposed to go back to court. And you get quite a lot of other matters that involves even an old gogo in one place who wants to correct wrong things, and they don't have a media profile. So for me, it's not about me. I don't need any support that comes to me as an individual, but I want a support that will go to all whistleblowers. And I'm even asking fellow whistleblowers that are having access to funds to assist others, because others are closer to the palace, right? They are having resources in one way or another through NGOs or through the palace itself, to assist other fellow whistleblowers who are trying to make sure that this country becomes a better country and a prosperous country. Because at the end, it's no longer about us, it's about our kids.
All right.
And kids' future.
I just wish the pair of you safety again, salute your bravery, and thank you so much for talking to us this morning. Those were whistleblowers Thabiso Zulu and Patricia Morgan-Mashale.